Hello everyone, Steven here. I'm gonna go on a bit of a daily grind and we're gonna play two decks today. I brewed recently a mono green historic deck that I want to try out, but I also made I'm also gonna play today and tomorrow a version of Orzhov Death Shadow, which is built around humans. And I'm going to play a little bit a Phoenix deck, which I'm going to update in a way that should hopefully make it a little bit more fun or tricky. The idea is going to be to add a little bit of a black splash and play some cards in Phoenix which have been quite popular in Modern at a point, and namely, we're going to clone that Arclight with black. And so the idea is going to be to play here Creeping Chill, and play 4, or at least, I don't know, play a number of copies of Otherworldly Gaze, maybe 3, and maybe 2 Narcomoebas. So we will have to make space for these, and we will have to add a few. We will have to add a few spells to make this work. A few black lands, blue and black mainly, but also maybe red and black. So what we could do, we could get rid of Otawara, and we could get rid of maybe the mountain, and that enables us to add maybe 3 lands maximum. Okay, so 1 pathway can also go, and then we have 4. We maybe have space for 4 lands. So I think 3 of those are going to be Watery Graves, and maybe 1 of them is going to be a Blood Crypt. Actually, maybe it's going to be 4 Watery Graves. Because we don't need to cast our... We don't really need to cast... Actually, we are not going to play Blood Crypt. We're going to stick with 20 lands. Oh, this is 8. Yeah, we're going to stick to 20 lands. Because we have very good selection, and we only want the black mana very rarely to be able to cast maybe Creeping Chill occasionally if it comes to our hand. And other than that, we're going to cut some of the main deck creatures. We're going to make the sideboard a little bit more creature heavy. And we're going to cut Play with Fire. It's been very useless for me. It just doesn't do well enough what it's supposed to do. And we're going to cut a number of opts. Maybe one gaze can go as well. And it's quite nice to help mill the chill. And get to the Phoenixes fast. So Stormwing, maybe main deck is going to be one fewer. So this version of the deck is really trying to fill the graveyard and just take it from there. I'm just wondering whether there is anything maybe with Madness that we would want to try. I mean, Fiery Temper is a good card, but Faithless Looting is really the only thing that helps us to discard from hand, so yeah, it's not great. Return from the Grave. We would be interested in creatures that return somehow by themselves. So, creatures that can return by themselves if some kind of condition is fulfilled. So you would be interested in things like yeah, if you would have a lot of Surveil, this would, for example, be a decent card. It comes back to hand. It's very weak, actually. Yeah, Ghoul is decent, but we're not really gaining much life except with Creeping Chill, and that as a combo is not reliable enough. If we would have another way of gaining life, then it could be good, because it would come back quite often. But as it stands, it's just not good enough. Lightning Phoenix. Yeah, Lightning Phoenix could be funky somehow. Or I mean, what could be okay? Warcry Phoenix. We don't have enough creatures to activate Warcry Phoenix reliably. That's the problem. Scarab God. Drakis. Not easy. Well, anyway, this is gonna be our plan here, our main plan. We have to tune the sideboard ever so slightly to make room for some of these things. And the idea is going to be roughly to cut a couple of counter spells. And one of the Abrades is already gone, maybe one of the Pillar of Flames. Yep, so that's the idea. That's one thing I want to try today. And the other one is this version I threw together for Death Shadow. So this one is a version which is focused mostly on I'm still a bit conflicted about some cards in it. But anyway, so this version is focused on not only on Death Shadow and Thoughtseize, but mainly on good human synergies. So we have 4, 8, 12, 14, 16, 17, 20 humans. And these humans with the Lieutenant can do really well. They're just strong cards in themselves. We have Apparition, which is also very, very good, and we have the Inquisitor Cleric as well. So we have 33 creatures, so Captain can hit usually. And that shadow can be enabled by the Godless Shrines, the Sheffield Dunes, and what else can help us with that? The Agadim's Awakenings. I'm actually really tempted to have one or two more deserts. Those could be good. Tootsy's Final Payment. But yeah, I can't help thinking that we would be better off with more Sheffield Dunes because we can ping ourselves more reliably. And I'm not even sure about Egg Angel because this deck probably doesn't want to keep up too much. So maybe 3 Sheffield Dunes are the way to go. And then we have black mana, we have 12, 14, 15. That should be enough. I mean, we only really have these cards that we always need to be able to cast, and only Tootsy's which we need to cast early, not necessarily on turn 1. Sideboard-wise, we have Deafening Silence, Fragment Reality, Giant Killer, D-Spark, Lion Sash, Dahlia, Fracture, Vanishing Verse, Brutal Guitar, Redain, and maybe we can cut the Force Apparition. I think our removal is pretty decent. So yeah, that's sort of the idea. And I want to take this for a spin first. The hope is that this can have a decent chance to battle things in Historic. So we're going to have a look at Ranked Historic primarily today. And we're going to see how this does. And then maybe I'll play 1 or 2 games with this, restart a client, and then play 1 or 2 games with Phoenix. If you enjoyed the stream, if you enjoyed the brews, please subscribe, consider following the Twitch channel, or you can also check out my Google channel. I upload usually the videos, sometimes I edit them a bit. And you can also have a look at the deck lists. They are always linked. You can check them on my GG Untapped profile. Okay, so this is a pretty good hand, for example. We have Godless Shrine, Vanguard, and Tootsy's. We have the Agadim's Awakening to enable things. So if we draw a Shadow in the near future, I think this can do very, very well. And the opponent is on Phoenix. So obviously, they kept a 1-lander, and their main selection tool and enabling tool would be Faithless Looting. They were planning to play the land and then loot. Well, they're now going to play the opt. And I think in this situation, we will be happy to play the Sentinel because we want to tax them and we want to gain cards so that we can keep up with the grind and maybe disturb their hand more or bring out early a big shadow and beat them down. But if they don't find lands, then they're going to be in trouble because we managed to prevent them from dumping their double Phoenix. And that's just going to be very, very hard for them to keep up with. So we're going to cast Agadim now for 3 life and go with Ranger Captain and search for Shadow. And if we can get Shadow next turn together with Adento Vanguard, they will be in a very, very, very tight spot. They did find lands, but they're looting again. We're going to get a card of that as well. We get our 4th land. We could actually also Inquisitor Captain. That wouldn't be a bad play at this point. Opponent can't really do anything else. And actually, I mean, Captain would be very good as well. Right, and just get more cards on board. But we can bring in a Adento Vanguard, activate the ability, bring in the Shadow, the 4/4 attack, and I mean, we can just prevent opponents from doing anything on their upkeep by sacrificing Ranger Captain so they can't cast any spells. If they want to cast something, they have to cast it now. They can only cast creatures. Crackling Drake comes down. That's fine, but it just won't do it. And then what we're gonna do, hey, that's very convenient. We're just gonna kill them. So we're gonna get in, that's 8 damage. And we can add 6 more, go to 14 and have lethal. So against Phoenix, Raven Inspector is not important and good. We don't need it. Thalia is good, Final Payment is good, Spellbinder is good. Adeline isn't that important. It's pretty fast though, but we don't necessarily need this kind of pressure against them. Deafening Silence is definitely good. Lion's Sash can eat their yard, and we could either play here. I mean, Vanishing Verse could be okay. It can exile their Phoenix. These Spark can exile Phoenix or a Crackling Drake. Cathar can get rid of Phoenix or Crackling Drake or Sprite Dragon. Thalia can make things harder for them to cast. I'm a little bit less confident at the moment how much life I want to lose, so maybe go down a little bit on this synergy and bring in some more removal that can deal with their tricky creatures. So I think in that respect, having Vanishing Verse and D-Spark could be pretty good here. And do I really want to play? I'm wondering, do I really want to? Maybe I want to play Cathar. And yeah, Cathar could still be quite good. Actually, Giant Killer could be good against the Crackling Drakes, and it can also tap down if they only have 1 or 2 creatures that can matter. So this is not a bad hand at all. They go first, but we can Toadseize them and then Deafening Silence them. Okay, that's a bit tough, but never mind. So definitely we are going to Toadseize first, and so one thing we don't want is Dorat. It's a bit too good. Maybe Fateless Looting should have been what I get rid of, but I don't want the Sprite Dragon to come and wreak havoc. So now they get a lot of selection, but next turn we can bring Deafening Silence, get rid of their Hidatsugu. So we won't be in a too bad place. Wow. But they're very close to activating double Darcy, which is rough. Oh, they have double Darcy already active. Whoa. That's a bit tricky. What do we want to go with here, right? That's the question. We're gonna get hit for 6 if we don't kill one of these. But at the moment, killing one of these costs us 5 life as well. So it's a pretty tough position to be in. Everything we want to do costs life, and they put our life total under very, very efficient pressure here. Well, we have to pay the 5 life. We don't have any other option. So we're gonna go very low, and we need something. We need to find something very quickly to deal with this Darcy, otherwise we are basically dead. And that's not it. That's definitely not it. And we can't really afford to go much deeper at the moment. We can't really afford going much deeper, but we have to cast the Deafening Silence or the Lieutenant or the Vanguard. Well, we don't want them to bring back Phoenixes, but I think at 3 mana, that's not yet a huge danger. So we're gonna go with the Vanguard here. We're just gonna pass. They can remove it if they want. We can't keep it alive. Yes, that's absolutely right. We are not keeping that one alive in this case. We're gonna allow our opponent to get rid of it. And do we find anything that we can do against Double Darcy? I don't think we can. Actually, maybe Legion Standing could be good in this situation. Could also work well against squirrels and cats. And other powerful early drops. But yeah, I think that's just a very, very quick victory for my opponent. Yes, there we go. So yeah, very early triple Darcy is tough. Okay, let's give it a try with Fragment Reality and a little bit less self damage. Can be good, probably. Also, maybe flying blockers are good. Redain might be quite useful here. Difficult to decide. Yeah, it's tough because we have to be somehow the deck that is a little bit more playing a mid-rangey, tempo-y plan. And our deck is just not that good at that. Yeah, Phoenix is a very tricky and resilient deck. I mean, we're gonna bring here a Thalia and then try to start growing it with the lieutenants, the double lieutenants. And if it can be big enough, it hopefully becomes tough for our opponent to deal with it. They might have an Unholy Heat that they're going to cast for 2 mana on Thalia. That would make sense for them. Yep. Otherwise, it slows them down too much. But we're going to just continue with the lieutenants. And if we draw mana so diligently, we might actually get to an Academ's Awakening at some point. They're looking for their 3rd land with Expressive Iteration. They did find it. Do they have another Unholy Heat? They might. Ooh, that came in tapped. Well, never mind. We're gonna bring Thalia number 2, and we're gonna hope that it survives the turn. If it does, next turn we can grow both of those humans and going for 6. And Thalia makes, of course, our own Academe more expensive for the moment as well. And that's an exile spell. How naughty. How very naughty. But, I mean, one thing we could do here would just be to cast this for 3 and start going in with this chap. It's not an amazing clock, but it can pick off some things. For example, if my opponent would have wanted to finale or promise to this turn, that can be prevented. But they did a good job getting rid of 2 Thalias. That's quite rough for us. And they don't have any Phoenix in the graveyard yet, which is good. They do have 3 types, so if they get rid of any kind of creature, we might be in trouble. They didn't find Phoenix, okay. They did find Stormbane Entity. We can get rid of that with D-Spark, so that's a good thing. That is a good thing. Because that has a mana value of 5. Sadly, Unholy Heat is already active. What is the better sequencing? Lieutenant and then Cathar, or Cathar and then Lieutenant? Maybe Cathar and then Lieutenant is better, because if they only have something like a 2 damage removal spell, then Lieutenant can help. Gosh, yeah, but they have an instant, right? Yep. Okay, in that case, we need to D-Spark. Fair enough, fair enough. This way they don't get the trigger. But they're drawing very, very well. They do a lot of faithless lootings and 2 iterations, so their selection is just brutal. We might not have enough power here to deal with them. Although, they're very unlucky regarding Phoenixes. But they must have a Phoenix at this point and a 1-mana spell, come on. They have 1 Phoenix, and they do have an Opt. But they discarded another entity. That's pretty good for us. That's pretty good for us. And 1 Phoenix is not that dangerous, because we are very close actually to playing Death Shadow. And we can put the Apparition on board, get rid of the Phoenix. And we have 2 creatures, we can pressure, and we also have a Death Shadow. So we are not in a bad position at all. If our opponent starts, even if they double Phoenixes now, we might be able to raise them. Okay, 1 Phoenix. But now you need to double spell still with 3 mana. Wow, they went through half their deck. This deck is amazing. That's why I love to play Phoenix as well. You just get so much selection, so much fun, so many good opportunities to really just go off. Okay, so we do want to get rid of Phoenix, and we're gonna bring Shadow, just 2/2 at the moment, but it can grow, and we're gonna bring Lieutenant, and then that can trade with the Captain. Okay, they trade there. I don't mind that. Can't threaten. We can go in. So now they're... Oh, how lucky! Look at that. They top deck a Hidetsugu. Very good opponent. But that means we can cast Deafening Silence, and you won't be able to bring back your Phoenixes. You have to hard cast all Phoenixes. I mean, actually, he's going to exile all graveyards next turn. Is that even good for our opponent? Is that even good? We don't mind if our graveyard gets exiled. I mean, we have another Agadine, but yeah, I sideboarded out the other Agadine. At this point, we're just gonna play our Lieutenant, because opponent probably is keeping up some removal. Yep, that's exactly what I was sure about, that they're keeping up 1 or 2 Unholy Heats. And they're just trying to, you know, use their removal spells to control the board and to prevent us from, you know, snowballing and getting out of control. And Captain is going to be very good here. It's going to buff our creatures. We can bring another Apparition, we can get rid of their Phoenix, and we win. So yeah, and Shadow did work. I like the Black Splash for Thoughtseize Shadow. That was pretty fun. Maybe this is a viable shell for Shadow, because the 2 captains, the Inquisitor captain and the Ranger captain, can search for Shadow. Yeah, so we can play Shadow when we actually want it or need it. It's not the only threat we can rely on. We have other little bit snowbally, synergistic, not snowbally, but like sort of supporting, synergistic, taxing threats. I think these are very good hands, actually. We're gonna go with the Sentinel. Opponent has the Chandra sleeves. If there's someone who is very stylish and cares about things, then they must be playing something that wants to cast some spells and planeswalkers. So Sentinel might draw us some cards. And they open with the Haunted Rage. So this might be... What is this? Arcanist, of course. What else? Good old Arcanist. Good old Arcanist. What else? Well, we're gonna go with the Captain because it can block the Arcanist very profitably. We're gonna go and look for. I mean, I think it's a little bit too early for Shadow. Although. I mean, Shadow is not bad to have one of them in my hand. They might be able to discard. But, you know, if they do that, they do that. That's fine. Anyway, Sentinel is protecting them. And Shadow can be brought back by Agadeem's Awakening as well. So, we're not in a bad position at all. Here, we're not in a bad position. We might have to sacrifice a bunch of life to Vanguard to enable Shadow to grow it out of range of some smaller removal spells. But that might be a sacrifice that we will be willing to take. Yeah, obviously opponent sees the Vanguard Shadow line. And I would be very, very surprised if they wouldn't have anything they can do about it. But they're targeting the Sentinel. I mean, sure, nothing I can do about that. I'm gonna pay the tax, fair enough. And then, what's next? Unholy Heat, the Captain. Yeah, that's okay as well. And then trade with the Arcanist. Oh, that's gonna come on the Captain again. Yep, sure, fair enough. I don't mind. Yep, that's okay. So you used up 2 of your removal spells this way. And next turn, actually, we can bring back Sentinel and Vanguard or something. Should I bring a big Shadow now? Does that make sense? It doesn't even need to be big. I can bring it as a 1/1. And then grow it next turn. And I still have mana to crack my Include token and draw a card. Yeah, that's something we're perfectly content with. They get rid of my Agadeem's Awakening, which is very regrettable. It would have been fantastic to bring back some things against this opponent. Ah. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure. Yep. Perfectly fine. Not much I can do about that. But had to get them to use up their cards. And then Croxa comes, discards a pathway. We don't mind that too much. Croxa. There isn't really enough for them to bring back Croxa, and we draw another land. That's not good though. That is not good. Then at that point we just bring the Shrine, get in for 4, and we hope to draw something else as a land. I mean, we haven't drawn my playables. We drew Agadeem's Awakening as 7 lands. They play Darcy. That's interesting though. Obviously, Arcanist is going to come in. They're going to cast Kozilek. It's going to enable Surveil, but Kozilek won't have any targets, so that's okay. Blanked. Croxa is going to discard Courtyard. Croxa number 2. Our opponent's draw is much more what we would have needed, right? Like just 3-4 lands. Everything else has been guess. So we are 3-4 cards behind 5 because we keep drawing lands. This is a big problem. They do that. So they must have some way to destroy. Yeah, that's okay. We're just going to trade there. They must have some way to destroy or deal some damage to us. They probably have Crocs and numbers 3. They probably have Crocs and numbers 3. And Chandra, yeah. Yeah. Well, we're missing 3 playables compared to our opponents, right? Yeah, drawing so many lands means that we lose the game. Okay. That was just bad luck, which is the thing that happens. Lion's Sash will be good here. Thalia can be good. Fragment Reality can be good. It exiles things. D-Spark can exile Crocs and Chandra. Vanishing Verse can exile things. Retain. Brutal Qatar can be good, probably. Okay. What is less important? Raven Inspector is less important. Again, damaging ourselves too much for shadows. Probably not a great plan against them. Because they're a quite aggressive deck and they're gonna try to put a lot of pressure on us. And so Vanguard isn't that great here. And maybe one Toadseas can go as well. Academe could be really good here, so we're gonna keep that. And let's just see what we can do. Rakdos is a tough matchup for creature decks. And look, again, 5 of our 20 lands in our opening hand. I don't know how this happens. Every time, but whatever. So Colligan is pretty bad because it can be a double whammy against us. Fatal Push is of course very annoying as well. But now they're the ones who drew 4 lands and removal, discard. They can trade pretty well one-on-one. That's a problem, obviously. We want them sort of to bring out their Croxa and then... Yeah, we want them to sort of bring out their Croxa so that we can eat it with the Sash. So ideally we would have them Fatal's Push Thalia. Yeah, that's okay. But we also want them to get rid of that. Bring the Sash. Croxa is going to eat our Apparition, which is not good, but that's that. Should I have held back the Sash? Maybe. But then if they have two card disruption spells, then we are still in trouble. Oh, and they're not playing it out. That's interesting. Let's see what my opponent has. We can eat a couple of their cards, so that's a good thing. I mean, at the end of their turn, we're just going to start eating up their spells anyway. Because empty graveyard is good. We don't want our opponent to have things to reanimate Croxa and so on and so on. Yep. And that was to be expected, but that's fine. And we'll just bring Captain and see what he can get for us. And he can get for us a Spellbinder, which is good. We can have a look at their hand. They drew it. No matter how many times I play Cross, it never comes until like turn 10. But all my opponents who play Croxa get 3 Croxes at the beginning. Anyway, bad luck, it happens. Okay, so I shouldn't be so salty about things that don't matter that much ultimately in the larger scheme of the universe. And Sesh luckily did get rid of a couple of spells, so they're a little bit further away from casting Croxa at least. But they can start activating their manlands, and that's a bit annoying. And they drew, of course, another Call Against Command. What else would you top deck? What else would they have top decked? A Call Against Command. Gosh, so annoying. And we would need another land here to be able to really like bring back a Sash and Sentinel. So yeah, just bringing back a Sentinel is not powerful enough. But now they're in sort of a position to race me with the Den. So I can't really cast anything. This is not good. People, this is not good. Our opponent again could disrupt our hand very well. They drew plenty of removal spells. So this is just not good. And they can still, yeah, of course, the Sash is the first thing they get rid of. Yeah, naturally. What else would happen? And again, we drew. I don't understand these draws, to be honest. I don't know how the shuffler works still. I'm very, very suspicious that something is off here. Because this is, again, way too many lands, both in the previous game and in the current game. To be fair, opponent drew a lot of lands as well, right? They're on seven lands. Okay, so I shouldn't complain. Yeah, they must be playing around 20 as well. And half of their lands were, half of their cards were lands. But I think what was unlucky is that they drew the right kind of discard and a lot of removal, which is pretty much most of what their deck is, right? Yeah, they're just gonna keep getting rid of our stuff. We're gonna get rid of their land, and then they will have enough cards in the graveyard next turn for Croxa. So, oh well, that's life. That's life. And we keep drawing more lands. That's bonky. That's absolutely ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous. Really? We have Death Shadow in our deck. We're on 30%, man. I don't know. I mean, we're dead, right? So we're just gonna give up here. That was horrible draws in both games. Restart the client quickly. Let's hope that helps a little bit with these shuffler issues. Anyway, things happen. Phoenix we could beat, but Rakdos hate us. Rakdos. God. How ridiculous. How utterly ridiculous to lose to Rakdos with this deck. Well, if they draw both manlands, of course it helps a lot. All the Croxes in all the games. It's a bit tough. I think this deck might need 4 Inquisitor Captains, actually. Yeah, that's not a bad hand. We don't really know what opponent is up to, but that's sort of keepable. We're gonna have to lead with White, Sentinel. Then we can go into iTyrant and Inspector. What is opponent playing? They're pretty open with tapped Boros land. What are they playing? Interesting. Shall we just have a look? They don't seem to have any instants, which is also very interesting. Yep, I'm gonna look for something. Probably I'm just gonna look for another Sentinel. Do they have an Anger of the Gods or something like that? Seasoned Pyro. I mean, that's a good card, but it seems slightly slow here. Ah, Reanimator. I see. That's tough. That's pretty tough. If they reanimate an Ulamog next turn or an Elish Norn, we are in trouble. So we're probably gonna have to try and prevent that from happening. I mean, I imagine they're going to play Late for Dinner. What can we do? We're definitely gonna bring Vanguard. And another Sentinel. And pass the turn. And sack the Ranger Captain. Yeah, that prevents them from casting any spells. They do have land number 4. They don't do anything. And we get a tapped land. How freaking annoying. We haven't seen any of our man lands in the previous games. We saw 7, 6, 7, 8 lands. None of the man lands. And now that we would need the lands, we get a tapped man land. Unbelievable. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, it is what it is. Yeah, we're just gonna get rid of the... We should keep this for Elish Norn, though. We should keep this for Elish Norn. So we're gonna attack with the Vanguard for the moment. But they don't do anything. We're gonna get a clue as well. Of course, now we get the untapped land. And then we're just gonna end the turn. What do they cast? Yeah, Late to Dinner is there. Exactly what I was expecting. And they're bringing Elish Norn. So what we're gonna do... We're just gonna make that big enough to cast Shadow next turn. Okay, we're gonna draw a card and get Elish Norn. The creatures are gonna go back. I mean, we're still very, very prone to dying here immediately. We're still very, very prone to dying immediately. I mean, we do have a huge Death Shadow. So one of the interesting questions is whether they have any direct damage. And whether they have any other like instant speed spell or something else. Invoke Justice, naturally. What else would my opponent have in their hand? Dear God, losing to this deck. Okay, I'm gonna give up, people. I'm gonna give up. This is ridiculous. This is really ridiculous. This is just, I don't know. This is just totally bonkers. Losing to this deck is a shame. This is not a good deck what my opponent is playing. I mean, it's not a bad deck, but it's not a reliable series deck. They didn't play a single card until turn 3, then they played the Season Pyro. I mean, this is sort of a meme, and it's a little bit of a shame to lose to memes. We could say it's a big shame to lose to memes. It's a pretty big shame to lose to memes. People. That is the situation. Well, anyway, it is what it is. Opponent did beat us. They did get the Alice Norn at the beginning, and they did get the Olamog at the beginning, and they did get all the reanimation that they needed at the beginning. We can't keep a one-lander. We're a two-land deck. One land is not enough. Yeah, we're gonna have to go and have a look at their hand. So they have Faithless Looting, Late to Dinner, March, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Yeah, we're just gonna go with Late to Dinner because that's something they guaranteed. They're guaranteed to want and be able to use. We're gonna go with Thalia. Just in case they want to Fatal Push or March, they have to make a decision there which one they cast. Thalia is a good way to text them a bit. And then there's a Saris Emissary. That's something we also don't want, right? Yeah, we don't want that. We need to eat the creatures from their grave. They're going to March of Otherworldly Light, the Lion's Sash probably because they don't want me to eat the Emissary, but that's okay. That means Thalia is in the game and we are gonna be in the game a bit longer. Okay, then we can also Spellbinder them. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is going to be much more expensive. They can't make easily a blocker. That's also good. They're getting taxed pretty hard. It is going to be enough, not sure, because Late to Dinner is just 5 mana. They have Hellish Norn and another. Ah, oh, god. It's a pretty good hand for my opponent again. If that's a reanimation card, 4 mana reanimation card, they can just cast it here. And they're just gonna win from there. Yep. That's another Late to Dinner, they're just gonna win. Yeah, it was an Invoke Justice. Okay. And they discard their Invoke Justice. Huh. We're just gonna try to keep getting in. Yeah, we just have to beat them to death. We just have to beat them to death as fast as we can. And we used up a lot of our own life, so that Shadow would be actually excellent here. One thing... You're gonna attack. What do they have up? They're sitting on something, obviously. Okay. I should have drawn a land. Land would have been so good. We could have activated the desert and won. But that wasn't meant to be. My opponent has some instant speed removal. They're keeping it up. Okay, they can Season Pyro, instant speed. I don't mind that. It's not going to be super effective. What's the idea? What is the idea, opponent? We're gonna keep this. I don't want to lose it, because otherwise it might be hard to finish them off. Yeah, they're gonna make more blockers. Sure. I'm gonna block. You might have a combat trick or something. Okay, good. Done. Whew! That was pretty exciting. They actually boarded in a good amount of creatures, the naughty opponents. Yeah, final payment is a tricky one. Do we want a giant killer? The giant killer might be good. Well, what does it kill though? Redain is actually good here, right? It makes things more expensive. And actually, maybe Adeline is good. Yeah, I mean, Adeline might be... Or just a Ranger Captain. It is card advantage and it can... Yeah, it can prevent the opponent from casting their reanimation spells. Whoa, this... I didn't expect this to be such a tough game. Man, this is just weird. This is not bad. We have some pretty heavy taxation. It's a lot of land again. Again, we are flooding already. Okay, never mind. It's 27%, so our arena is guaranteed to give us 1-2 more lands in the next 5 cards. But let's try and make the best of it, right? Let's try and be professional and just think about what we can do. I think I should have just shuffled, probably. Yep. Land number 1. We knew that. It was clear that it's coming. We're gonna use a little bit of life. Cast a Thalia. Good. We're gonna bring the Vanguard. Yeah, sure. Season Pyro. Of course. And they already have a Schnorn in the grave. We are in trouble. We are in trouble. They find Season Pyro every game, and they seem to find Ashnorn every game. They have another Pyro. We need to start attacking no matter what. We need to start attacking no matter what. Even if they would have sacrificed all 3 of their creatures, we need to start getting in. Yep. We need to start getting in. We're gonna bring the Sash. And we're gonna eat the Norn. Yep. We're gonna attack with Thalia. We're also going to eat the other Pyro. We can make even more blockers this turn. Of course, they have land number 5. How would they not? Oh, and they can distribute the counters. That's pretty interesting. Actually, that's a play I haven't. We're just gonna get rid of our lieutenant. It's not really doing anything at the moment for us. And Sesh can just eat the lieutenant. Sorry, the pyro. Go into attack. Should I just keep up Sesh? Maybe that's the best, right? I mean, Vanguard would be awesome, but I think just having Sesh up and being able to, you know, like if they faithlessly loot or something like that, deal with their creatures in the graveyard is just too important. So can they... what else do they discard? Interesting. Should I eat my own things? The problem is with Agadim. Agadim would be pretty good value here, actually. But I think I'm gonna eat one. I think I'm gonna eat the lieutenant. And I think I'm gonna eat also their... one of the Invoke Justices, maybe? Okay, Ranger Captain isn't bad. Ranger Captain isn't bad. And I think we have to cast this on the Kikijiki mirror. Get rid of it. And then just bring the Ranger Captain. And I mean we're in... yeah, we're at the point where Death Shadow is pretty good. We're definitely at that point. 5. They have 5. So no attacks for the turn. Portable hole on my Lion Sash. Dang, that's a little bit too good of a top deck. Come on. That top decking, come on. Unreal. It's unreal. And meanwhile, we're drawing the 7th land. This is a little bit unreal to me, how these things are going at the moment. And I mean, they don't have anything that is very dangerous right now. But they have the Pyromancer. Is that the 3rd Pyromancer? Yeah. I don't know. Do I need more Inquisitor Captains in this deck? Maybe I should just play 4, right? It's like Coco. Why am I not playing 4 Inquisitor Captains? I don't even understand myself. This deck obviously needs 4 Inquisitor Captains. And I think I have 4 Inquisitor Captains. So it's just an enormous strategic mistake not to play them. I mean, my opponent is sitting on something. My opponent is sitting on something for a reason. Hello there! That would have made trading pretty good for you, wouldn't it have? So they can swing back for 3, 4, 6, 8. That's a lot. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start attacking with these. And I'm just gonna try to, you know, grind out. Yeah. That's it. Sure. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what we expected, right? They're gonna bring back the Pyro tokens. Okay. Fragment Reality is not bad because it can deal with the portable hole. And I think we like that. I think we like that because we do want the sash back. Because I think what happened is they drew their fourth Invoke Injustice. Invoke Justice. And they're planning to cast it. Okay, yep. So now that's a lot less effective. That is suddenly a lot less effective. They're on 17. If I would... How much could I... I could bounce this up to 12, but that's still only 15 damage. I think I'm still just going to do this. Can they have anything very dangerous here? I can't imagine. Should I have sacrificed the Ranger Captain? Can they have a spell that can kill me this turn? They're not attacking with everything. Okay, we're gonna eat some things. We're definitely gonna eat our land. We're probably also going to eat... Do they have anything that returns spells or enables them to cast a spell again? Something like that. We're gonna do that as well. They have 4 blockers. It's 7 life. I'm just gonna have to cast the Shepherd Dunes and go for it. Yeah. Okay. That's still lethal. You have to block at least the sash. Because the sash can grow. Oh, they're blocking the apparition. Okay. That makes sort of sense. Good. Uh-huh. Huh. That's okay with me. That's perfectly fine with me. And wait a moment. Sash can grow later. Yeah. Okay. We do this. We sack the captain so they can't cast any non-creature spells. And they have a hard cast Sarah's Emissary. They have a hard cast Sarah's Emissary. And then we're dead, right? Because they have protection from creatures. They do. They very much do. So our only chance is if we get a fragment really, if we get some kind of removal against Sarah's Emissary. But we don't, of course. Why would we? Yep. Protection from player. Yep. So they win with Sarah's Emissary top deck. With 3 Invoke Justices, Hellish Norn, 3 Seasoned Pyros. Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm very upset. I think this is a horrible game. But you know, what can you do? I mean, it is a game of luck. Is there anything I can do here? Any way I can deal direct damage? No. No. So maybe the best way to off myself is to go to combat. It's not gonna do anything. No damage, and just activate the ability twice. And there you go. Oh yeah, sure. That's another perfectly reasonable top deck here. Okay, so that was pretty bad and sad, because I mean this was decent reanimator deck, but my opponent was just very lucky. So I'm wondering, like, what would make our deck better? Definitely 2 more captains are needed to have a bit more oomph. We don't really need Adeline, and we might not need 4 inspectors. And on the other hand, we might need some... We might need a little bit better graveyard removal. Lantern might be something that we have to play. And then the main deck, I don't know, some more better removal. Final Payment is a bit steep with the 5 mana. Creature wise, 32. Can sight in a few decent creatures. Can I 2 fatal pushes? Maybe that would be decent to help a bit to get through faster. Yeah, push might just be good, right? I mean, it's a low curve deck, or Fragment Reality. Yeah, that might work a little bit better. But anyway, I do want to tinker around a bit more with this deck. I think it does have legs. I think we were quite unlucky in how things played out. So, you know, I don't think this is a damning verdict for the deck. But I do think it means that it does have quite a few bad matchups, which is something we realistically need to take into account. Have to be realistic about it. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, this is a tricky thing. Yeah, and I'm just adjusting the red-black version a little bit. I'm just wondering what could help to... Yeah, we need to make these decks slightly more consistent and fast. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to go about with them and do the right thing. I don't know, maybe there's no reason not to play Arcanist in this shell. There are plenty of good 1-mana spells here. Instead of Adversary, actually, Arcanist could be a little bit more. Yeah, it's maybe a better source of card advantage. I mean, Adversary is a haste creature, so that's good about it. If Plunder is slightly slow, and we would want maybe 2 Bowmats, 3 Bowmats. Couriers. Because they're nice hasty creatures that can bear the cleave well. I have the feeling that Robber of the Rich or Adversary would be better than the Siphoner, though. Yeah, maybe one more Courier and one more Croxa are good as well. Yeah, so this is a little bit different style. Anyway, what I want to try out is Phoenix with Black. That would be the other deck I'm sort of interested in. Whether the Creeping Chills can make it a little bit better. And I just don't know why I didn't, but why I was using Thrilling Discovery in this deck instead of Pyromancer, but obviously Pyro gives us oh, because we don't want any creatures, right? If we're playing creativity. Of course. So Thrill is perfectly fine to me. But maybe one more token maker would be good to create token. Something that's a decent token maker. And it's a non-land. Witness. No. We need something. It's a good spell. Preferably some instant spell that can create some tokens. A Kiki-Jiki wouldn't be bad, actually. I like that idea as well. The Kiki-Jiki enchantment, right? And then it can copy. Yeah, the Monkiki could be good. That can also make treasures. Treasure tokens are good as well. So that's not an instant. There you go. Yeah, that could do the trick. And that also enables us to discard and draw. Yeah. Okay. Let's give it a try with that. Maybe that's better than the Thrilling Discovery as well. Might be. Maybe I should just play 3 Fables. 2 Fables, 3 Raise the Alarms, something like that. Yep. I'm gonna give it a go with this. And then, oh, although, yeah, Thrill is good in that respect that it does enable us to discard from our hand earlier, right? Like if we do draw, some of our biggies. Actually, what I was thinking was that maybe some number of lands could be cut. That's a possibility, definitely. So this is predominantly a red deck. I think we could go down to 22. We have enough card draw and selection here. So we could go with something like this. Or even with something like this. Because the treasure tokens are harder to remove than the creature tokens. Oh, no. Sorry. We didn't change decks, did we? Okay, let's restart the client, give it a break. And yeah, this is an interesting run. I'll probably take a few minutes break now to refill my tea, and I'll be back then, and we're gonna have a look at this Phoenix list. So see you all in a couple of minutes.